We are going to compare Gmap Scraper and Scrub.io based on the 3 features that any good Google Maps scraper must have. By the way, both tools offer free trials, so by the end of the video, you will be able to get at least 100 leads. Before talking about the 3 core features, what comes first is the account setup. Let's start with Gmap Scraper. We are faced with a Google Chrome extension, and as such, it has to be installed. It may seem simple, but it's a bit more than just clicking on Add to Chrome. First, click on Download so that you end up with a zip file. Then you unzip it, navigate to Chrome extensions and turn on the developer mode. Finally, click on Load Unpacked and select your folder. In the case of Scrub.io, there is just a single step: clicking on Create Account. Let's jump into the first feature, shall we? That is to extract basic information, basically any data fields from the company's name to its phone number, alongside some additional info from the subpanels about or reviews. Let's check out how to do that with Gmap Scraper. I'm clicking on my extension and I open Google Maps. Then we are typing a keyword. I'm looking for restaurants near Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. I've chosen a relatively small town for a reason. More on that later. And automatically I have this new button. I guess I have to click on it. And what is going to happen is pretty interesting. By default, 7 businesses are listed, so the scraper scrolls down automatically bit by bit in order to collect more data along the way. I can export my detailed list, and this is what it should look like. A couple of tips for you to make your life easier. Click on your extension and go to the settings icon. Here you can customize your scraper. You can set up an interval, download your files automatically, and finally you can check or uncheck some data fields in your result file. On Scrub.io now. Once you log in, you have access to an interface. This is where you make your requests, and they are all divided into 5 different steps: category, country, level 1 division, level 2 division, and city. To launch a request, only 2 of them are mandatory. They might not be the ones you think for. Country and city are required, whereas activity, level 1 division, and level 2 division can be discarded. With that in mind, I simply type Cheyenne, and by clicking on search, I will end up with all listed companies, the equivalent of 4,000 different activities in the given city. Obviously, I'm free to specify that Cheyenne is located in Wyoming, in Laramie County, if I'm not sure. We said we were targeting restaurants. Here we go. All that remains is to click on export. Wait a second. And this is what it should look like. How is that I only have 30 data rows on Gmap Scraper, whereas Scrub.io shows 161. I know the town is not big, but one may safely assume we should expect more than 30 restaurants. Wait, I noticed something. A free account can only find 30 leads. Okay. Well, I will upgrade and sacrifice myself for the greater good, because I really want you to see something. Do you remember our core features checklist? Let's jump into the second one, scaling up. One warning, if you allow me. By scaling up, I don't mean scraping unlimited leads, because in 99.999% of cases, it's a lie or another promise. Instead, we will replace this statement by scraping as many leads as possible. There is no fixed number here, let's just say we will expect a tiny bit more than 30. Let's come back to Gmap Scraper. With the paid plan in hand, not only am I supposed to get all potential leads, but I can also unlock additional valuable data like email addresses, social media links, and other minor details. Look, this is what the file looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. Again, a piece of advice to make your life easier. Sometimes you get 2 or more emails within the same cell, separated by a comma. To include a single email per column, here is what you should do. Select your column, go to Data, and select Split Text to Columns, paste on a comma, and voila. This time 120 data entries were pulled out. That's better, but that's still not good enough, considering that on Scrub.io we got 161 leads. But after all, that's not that big of a difference. Maybe it was an accident. I'm going to double check it by running a bigger request, something like real estate agencies near New York City. On Gmap Scraper I retrieved 120 data, while on Scrub.io I retrieved received 3,000 data. There is definitely a big gap between the two. One question remains: how to explain it? I checked the Gmap Scraper website more closely and something caught my attention. As for the description of the paid subscription, one may read unlimited lead generation potential. I found this mention curious. Potential. The way I understand it is that the barrier we have encountered has not been set up by the scraper. It has been set up by Google Maps itself to prevent mass scraping. No matter of how large your keyword is, the same limit remains valid. Scrap.io doesn't have such limitations because Scrap.io scrapes data in the cloud, meaning the job is done by external servers. It's a bit like a steel train speeding along at full speed. The barrier may exist, but it won't survive the impact. The point is that Scrap.io doesn't stop there. Actually, depending on your subscription, you can target a city, or an entire country, or the full state, or let's go crazy, the whole country. It can be the US or any other country on the planet. As usual, I have a preview of my data, but we didn't export a file yet on Scrap.io. Let's do that. Surprisingly, I get an error. You cannot export more than 250,000 results at once. You can ask for a custom extraction request via this form. The third and final feature that any good Google Maps scraper must have may sound paradoxical: scaling down. This is what I meant by saying that if someone promises you to scrape unlimited leads, they are probably lying. Let's imagine for the record that this statement is true. Now comes a second question. You can scrape unlimited leads, but do you really need to? You really want me to scrape unlimited leads? I won't insist. Let's come back to Google Maps for a second. I'm currently targeting restaurants. However, maybe not all restaurants are relevant for my prospecting campaign. Maybe I'm only interested in Japanese restaurants. Did you know that on Google Maps you have the option to filter your results? I click on all filters and I can select Japanese instead of any cuisine. It works, but let's be real, you won't get far with these filters. On the other hand, on Scrap.io, you have access to a more comprehensive list of filters. Let's take the scenario where you are a marketing agency. First, you don't want to get closed companies. On the contrary, you may want to filter those containing website, and more specifically, those which have already implemented ad pixels. With that, you will make sure that your offer matches your audience. Now, just one quick tip for you. No matter how useful they might be, there is a major downside to the overuse of filters.
Que plus on met de filtres et d'options et de trucs, et plus les résultats vont être bas, et plus on prend le risque que les gens arrivent en mettant, ils vont mettre leur profil idéal. Donc le mec il doit avoir entre 18 et 19 ans, il doit être à tel endroit et dans 1 kilomètre de rayon et machin et trucs, et du coup t'en as pas assez. Et donc du coup nous, si on fait ça sur un SaaS, on se retrouve avec des gens qui disent ouais ça marche pas, je trouve pas ma cible quoi. Parce qu'en fait les gens cherchent d'une manière qui est beaucoup plus trop précise.
Let's come back to where we leave off. Well, all that remains is to click on export so as to get an overview of all the columns you are about to fetch. As a matter of fact, I think I've already exported a big file. Wait a second, here it is. All the US restaurants with a Facebook account, 200,000 entries, not bad. Let's take a look at it, and as promised, they are all there. One last thing, by clicking the Scrap.io link in the description, your first 100 leads are completely offered.